Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to Heart to Heart. My name is Madiha and we're joined by Sister Masuma Jaffer, who is a resident Alima at Stanmore Mosque, and she's also got qualifications in counselling. She has counselled hundreds of couples, individuals and families on various issues and topics, and Heart to Heart is all about our viewers. You can email in with your issues, your problems, any questions you may have at school, university, at home, or at work, and Sister Masuma will try her best to tackle your issues in a spiritual and a practical manner, inshallah. So thank you, Sister Masuma, for joining us today. As I said, the viewers can always email us in on hearttoheart@safiratv.com, and we've got many questions here that people have emailed in with, so I'm going to get right to it. Here I've got, I think it's a young lady who has said that she said that she really enjoys watching this show, which is really nice. And she's also said that there's an issue that she has. It's related to meeting someone over the internet. She said that he's stunning, deep voice, tall, so clever, everything that you could ever want in a guy. But there are discrepancies in the things he says. For example, he says he's traveling to the Middle East and he's fighting for some noble cause, which he won't tell her about. She said, when I looked up his IP address, it said it was from the country of where he was supposed to have left. Has he been lying to me this whole time? What about his promises to meet, which, by the way, haven't materialized yet? Am I being a fool?
There's a lot there.
Yeah, there's a lot.
I think one of the things that she needs to think about is she says he's all these wonderful things, but she's never actually met him. So how does she know he is what he says she is, or he is what she perceives him to be? If she's seen photos of him, how does she know that's his photo? If she's she says she's got a deep voice, so she's spoken to him on the phone. A lot of the times we build up this picture of the ideal person, and it sounds a lot like that here. He's secretive about what he does, which
should have alarm bells.
Alarm bells, yes. Yeah. Why does he feel the need to be secretive about it? It's like,
I see the CIA agent or something.
Why can't he just tell her what he's doing? If it's if it's a noble cause, why would he not shout it from the rooftops? If it's a cause that is a little bit more worrying, then you'd be a bit more secretive about it. So that should sound alarm bells straight away.
What are the dangers of internet sort of relationships and that kind of thing? What
so I mean, there's so many things that could go wrong. I mean, the whole, we've seen the whole concept of grooming and how it happens on the internet. So, being very careful of that, mindful of that. The fact that, people can misrepresent themselves very easily on the internet. Social hijab, again, hijab on the social media. We feel like because they're not in the same space as we are, they're not in the same room as we are, then, the boundaries are sort of come down a little bit more. But the hijab should be there. So, when she's talking to him, if she's talking about things that are not appropriate if you're not married, then, she needs to be aware of that. So there's so many things. I mean, she's obviously become very obsessed by him. She's looking up his IP address.
Yeah,
I wouldn't even know how you do that.
No, neither do I. Yeah.
And I mean, I have very minimal knowledge of how the internet works. How the IP addresses and things work. But I would have thought that
I think it's connected to your device rather than where you are in the world.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
So then it wouldn't matter where he was. If it's on his device.
Yeah.
So that, I don't think that means anything. But she's obviously not getting answers, and that's why she's felt the need to
go that far.
Go that far, because that is a bit stalking, sort of. If you think about it.
IP address,
just ask him straight out, and if you're not getting the answers, just actually say to him, no, that's not answering my question. Can you sort of let me know properly? Why is he not meeting up with her? What's the problem? And if he's making excuse after excuse, then she needs to sort of pull him up on that and sort of call him out. No, that sounds like an excuse.
And she should probably be really, really careful about meeting up in terms of where, and she doesn't know who this person is, and making sure if she has to meet up with him for whatever reason, it's public.
And she has again, just because it's over the internet, she needs to have her father's permission. If she's if she's not married, if she's living under her father's roof and everything, she needs to have her father's permission as well to take it further into nikah and so forth.
Yeah.
So I think there's a lot of danger signs there. There's a lot that would worry me. I think she needs to sort of be very cautious in continuing with this relationship if she's not getting the answers.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's.
And sometimes you don't know how many people. I mean, on the internet, you can just be a completely different person, can't you? So you don't know what this person is representing themselves as, and she said, "Am I being a fool?" And a fool is a very strong word to use, but he could be playing her as one. You just
may
never
be very
know.
sly and very clever, and it's not about
her
being a fool.
It's not an uncommon occurrence on the internet either.
Not at all. I don't think it's about her. It's about him, and how smart he is, and how easily he the tools he can use to actually misrepresent himself, make other people think that he's something he's not, and we've you have that constantly. Forget about it from the Islamic perspective, but that's how pedophiles work.
Yeah.
Online, that's how they sort of groom children and then get them to meet them and things. She doesn't say how old she is.
No, she doesn't.
And that's quite scary as well.
Yeah.
Because again,
but the way in which she's written it, it does seem like she's quite young.
So that would be scary.
Yeah.
I think she needs to talk to her parents. If she sees this going further, she really needs to get her parents on board.
Yeah.
And like you're saying, before she meets the person, she needs to have her parents, get him to actually come home. If he cares about her, then he needs to make more of an effort and be more open and show
and that's
through
probably
his
what she
actions.
has to understand, that if he cares about you, then he would show it, as you said, through his actions. She needs to understand that.
And at the moment, all she's getting is what
he's giving her.
He's giving her, and the perception of what he's giving her, sort of thing. So she's made up this picture of this ideal person. First of all, there's no one ideal. I mean, she talks about he's the ideal guy.
Everything you could ever want in a guy.
You'll never get everything you ever want in a guy.
Yeah.
Except when you get to Jannah, inshallah. So I think being a realist, just realizing that he's not going to be perfect. But there are a lot of alarms going off in my head here.
Yeah. No, we would probably both advise this young lady to just be more careful and
talk to her parents, please.
Yeah. I hope so. Okay, thank you for that. We're going to move on to the next question. I've got someone here that said, there is someone I work with, a colleague, who is like a cancer in the office. That's right, like a cancer, because she's so vindictive and poisons people against each other that it makes life at work very difficult. The worst thing is, most people think she's some sort of angel, but she's not. What should I do about this?
So many strong feelings there, isn't there? It's like to refer to someone as a cancer.
Yeah, it's quite a strong statement.
Very, very strong. I'm just wondering if there's any sort of personal issues here.
Because if everyone else seems to think she's an angel, but this person doesn't, then I wonder whether it is a personal thing.
Something's happened personally with this person. But they talk about the fact that she plays people off each other or gets...
she's vindictive and poisons people against each other.
If that is the case, then it will play out and people will see
eventually
what she truly is. We're told that honor comes from Allah and dishonor comes from Allah. So no matter how much you try to hide what you're doing and try to make yourself look honorable, if you're not, and God chooses to take that honor away, it will be taken away. So I think realizing that the truth will come out if that is the case, but maybe actually taking a step back and thinking, is this my problem? Maybe there's something that I need to work on myself. Why do I have such strong negative feelings towards another human being? The hadith of the Holy Prophet, which peace be upon him and his family, which says that 70, think of 70 excuses before you blame that person. So when she does something wrong, maybe actually sit there and try to think of reasons why she may have done that, rather than just...
Or whether you're even perceiving it a different way. Yeah. And if she's poisoning people against each other, then do those people have a problem with her? Does she know that that's the case?
Because it sounds like he or she's the only person who has the problem, because they're saying that everyone else thinks she's an angel.
Yeah.
So if she's poisoning other people, then why are they not having a problem? Why are they not seeing anything? even if she's really, really clever, you wouldn't come across as an angel.
Yeah.
It's so it's like two extremes. You've got Cancer at one end and Angel at the other end.
Yeah.
And he seems to be on his own here, whereas everyone else seems to be here. So it's a matter of maybe self-reflecting and thinking, is it me? Am I looking at it?
Sometimes it's easier to blame the other, isn't it, than to take on.
And concentrate on what that person's done. And maybe that person has done something really negative and really, awful to this person.
Yeah.
But sort of stepping aside and thinking, okay, that's their issue, not mine, and not taking it on board. Because what it seems like is they've taken it on board so much that it's affecting them and their work environment, and they're then obviously not enjoying being at work. And, so if that person has done something horrible to them, not only did they do that horrible thing, but he's allowing that person to continue affecting them. And that's their choice.
Yeah.
So it's realizing, I can't let them win. I can't let them continue to affect me. I need to step away from it and realize that that's their issue and let them worry about what they're doing. And if they're poisoning others, then others will see that. It's not this person's issue.
Yeah.
So I think that, there's a lot in there. I don't know whether it's their perspective of what they're doing or whether it's actually that person is a horrible person, but it's not my journey.
Yeah.
I need to sort of this person needs to step back and think, I know what they're like. I need to make sure I keep away from them and not let them affect me.
Yeah.
And others will find out as well. Yeah.
And I think often I find that if you've got an issue with someone at work, sometimes it's just about sitting down with them and having conversations, saying, what is the actual problem? What's the issue? Is there an issue? And sort of clearing the air sometimes.
Yeah, but here it seems to have gone quite far. And like if they're using words like cancer, I think, if you did have conversations, I think they would have to be facilitated conversations, because I think there's a lot of negativity there.
That's true.
It's not just something, I have a problem with this person and we need to discuss it and we need to get past it.
Yeah.
So there's to use cancer for another human being is huge.
Yeah, no, it's true. No, that's true.
I don't know. I mean, I think they need to move away from the negative feelings that they have.
Yeah.
I mean, my advice would be you need to move away from the negative feelings. Now, whether you do that through looking at this person through a different light by, thinking of excuses why they're doing what they're doing, or whether you do it from detaching yourself from this person and allowing, think that that's their journey, not my journey, and I need to just be away, not get pulled into their drama.
Yeah.
That's up to them how they do it, but it's not allowing yourself to be so, enveloped in the negativity that it's actually pulling you down as well.
No, that's absolutely true. Thank you so much for that. I'm going to go on to this next question, which is actually really very sad and quite a heavy topic. This person's emailed in to say that I don't know where to begin. My troubles began in my childhood with sexual abuse by a sheikh in a mosque. I know this is a very common problem and other people need help, but what about me? I still have bad dreams about the events that happened, and I've recited every dua to overcome this trauma, but nothing seems to work. Certain triggers like reading about child abuse will send me off into a deep depression. How do I overcome the past, and what is the best way forward in my life?
Oh, that is really, really sad.
Yeah.
I think it's even more sad because it's someone, in a position of trust and power that has actually abused that position. They don't mention how old they were, but obviously they must have been quite young when it happened. It doesn't seem like they've talked to anyone about it.
Yeah.
So they've not had any validation for the fact that it wasn't them. It was the adult. It was the sheikh that was the problem, not them. A lot of the times I think we internalize it and we think it's our problem. I must have done something. It must be my fault.
And this person has tried to recite every dua to overcome this trauma. Is that the only way you can?
No, of course not. That's what I'm thinking. They haven't talked to anyone, so I think it's important that they get some sort of counselling.
Yeah.
Because there are triggers that are setting them off.
Yeah.
And so they need to sort of work on those and work on the whole issue. They need to also, I think that there's if they've not told anyone, is the sheikh doing it to others? Again, that's huge. It's like he needs to be stopped.
Yeah.
if he's in a position where he can, he's around other children and he's able to do it to other children.
And what if this person is feeling as if no one's going to believe her or him, or or that it would throw scandal in the community or stigma, or what would you say to the person?
I think this is where the du'as come in. So the du'as aren't to get over what's happened to you. The du'as are to give you the strength to be able to handle it in the right way. So yes, this has happened, and obviously it's not happened. It's not come from God because it was the free will and the free choice of the sheikh to do that. But God doesn't abandon you. God gives you the tools to be able to handle these things. So this is where you then connect to Allah and say, I know you've given me the strength to be able to voice it out, to be able to tell people that this is what he's doing. So one, he's not able to do it to others. Two, that I'm actually able to speak about it, because once you speak about it, it helps you to sort of let go of it. A lot of the times when you don't talk about it, it's kept inside, and you just keep thinking about it over and over again. To try to get some counselling to sort of figure out how you're going to move forward from it, because it's a huge thing that's happened. It will obviously affect his future relationships as well if he doesn't get counselling for it. And talking to, first and foremost, I think he needs to talk to maybe one person who he's close to, like his parents, a best friend, someone who he really, really trusts, someone who will, be there for him emotionally to support him. When then they take it further, or her, when they take it further. So it's there's a lot of steps to it. Yes, du'as are very, very powerful, but I don't think they're enough in a situation like this. I think more needs to be done, and also his duty to the other people, other children in his environment. If it's being done to him, what's to say it's not being done to others? And how many people have to go through this before someone speaks out? I think people like this should be stopped. It's awful. How can they call themselves a sheikh and do something like this? It makes no sense whatsoever.
And what do you think we can do within our communities to try and make sure that this isn't a taboo topic, or a topic that is swept on the carpet or not spoken about, or that has a lot of stigma attached to it? Because I'm not sure about how this person thinks it's very common. I'm sure it's common. I don't know about if it's very common or not. But if it is common, how do we try and stop it from happening within our communities, or make sure that we're talking about it more, or making people feel comfortable to come forward and have the mechanisms in place for people to report this within our communities if it is happening as often as this person might be saying?
I think at the moment, the way that the environment is, we all have safeguarding policies within the mosques which are being implemented. Also, I think not disregarding it. If a child actually speaks out, yes, sometimes it may be there may not be any truth to it. It may be, a child may say something because, for whatever reason, it may be for attention seeking, it may be because they've heard something and they want to then repeat it or something. But not assuming that it's wrong or it's a lie, but actually sort of taking it seriously to investigate it, I think is really, really important. Whether he's a sheikh, whether he's a Maulana, whether whoever it is, it shouldn't matter. Generally, children don't make things up totally. There's something that's happened where there's a little bit of truth in it, or something. So it may be the perception or something. And I think nowadays kids are so aware because of the way that everything's taught in school of what is right and what is wrong. I think in the olden days, this person is an adult now, but it's happened to them a while back, I assume, because they talk about the fact that it still affects them. But I think nowadays it would be much more difficult for a person to dupe a child, because they're so aware. Everything's been taught at school. It's like the other day they were showing this whole video on a dinosaur called Pantosaurus. I don't know if you've seen it, by the NSPCC, where they've taken out this dinosaur called a Pantosaurus, who actually sings a little song about what private parts. These are my private parts, and no one's allowed to see them, and no one's allowed to touch them. And it's geared for very young children.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Which, yes, it shouldn't have to be done, but in the environment that we live in, it has to be.
Yeah.
So I think it's children do know that if someone's coming anywhere near my private parts, then the alarm bells will go off, which is a good thing.
Yeah.
So it'd be very unlikely that they can get away with it. And when children are that young and they come and tell their parents something, parents aren't going to not believe them. It's when kids get older, then parents sort of think, really, are you reading too much into it? And as parents, I think we need to trust our children.
Yeah.
And as children, I think we need to live a life where we're not making things up, generally in our life, we're not lying, we're not doing things. So when we do say something like this, when something awful like this happens, or, even when anything happens, when we say something, our word means something.
Taken seriously.
Yeah, because, we've lived our lives like that.
Yeah, so not crying wolf, basically.
Yeah, and or even not exaggerating or not lying generally. A lot of kids tend to lie to get out of trouble because that's the norm. So, you haven't done your homework. Oh, yeah, miss, I left it at home. And it seems like a really small thing. But, once you lose that trust on your word, then it's very difficult when you want people to believe you. I mean, this is huge, and you would hope people would believe you, God forbid, if something like this happened.
Yeah.
But even when you want people to believe you on something small, it's awful when people don't.
So you said this person needs to be speaking to someone. What do you know where they can be
I would go to my GP and actually get counselling referral. If they feel they want to talk to someone who's a Muslim counsellor, they can ask for that. I don't know how many Muslim counsellors there are within the mosque. Again, if they know of a Muslim counsellor, if they feel that, because they seem very connected to their religion and reciting du'as and things, so it might help to actually have a Muslim counsellor. So they can actually try to find out if there is a Muslim counsellor, and knowing that whatever they tell the counsellor, it's going to be totally confidential. So it's not going to come out. You talked about the fact that what about the the consequences of this coming out. It doesn't necessarily have to come out with your name. So even if you if it's taken further to the police and so forth, it's not, your name will be protected. So when they do the investigation, your name may would not come out for the general public.
Okay.
So be aware of that, and don't let that stop you. And again, a lot of the times that people if people find out this happened to me, will I get married? It wasn't to do with you. What you need to do is ensure that you've got the right help, so it doesn't affect your relationship when you do get married, and not worry about whether God is in control, and God will send you.
And if someone doesn't want to marry you because of that, you wouldn't want. Why would you want to marry them anyway?
Because it's not something that you brought on yourself. It isn't. You can't be blamed or targeted because of something that happened to you. That's not fair.
It's out of your control. No, absolutely. Thank you so much. I hope this person is able to benefit from the answer that you gave, and I'm so sorry to hear that this happened to someone. We've actually come to the end of our show, so thank you so much for joining us once again. Thank you to all our viewers for tuning in once again to Heart to Heart. You can always email in with your questions, your issues, anything you might be facing at work or at university, at home or at school, at hearttoheart@safiratv.com, and Sister Masuma will try her best to help you tackle your issues and problems on a spiritual and a practical level. Thank you once again for tuning in. Assalamu alaikum.